On Tuesday, Trump officials briefed the House and Senate behind closed doors on over whether Iran poses an imminent threat to U.S. interests. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan faced a very divided Congress. Democrats left concerned about whether Trump's administration has a solid strategy for calming the situation and containing Iran. Acting Defense Secretary Shanahan said the U.S. stance is not for for deterrence and not war.
We have deterred attacks based on our reposturing of assets, deterred attacks against American forces. Our biggest focus at this point is to prevent Iranian miscalculation. We do not want the situation to escalate. This is about deterrence, not about war. We're not about going to war. This is about continuing to protect our interests in the Middle East and conducting the missions that we are there to perform.
Here with me now to break it down is former U.S. Senator and former Governor of Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee. Senator, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So the Democrats are concerned that the intel has been misrepresented by Trump's top officials, Pompeo and Shanahan, and that Iranians are not more of a threat than they have ever been before. Do you believe this?
Well, as you said earlier, yes, it's very partisan. Every issue is so partisan, and the Democrats are questioning whether we, the United States, are responsible for this escalation with the Iranians. And that's a legitimate question the Democrats have, and they should be asking that because of our sanctions against Iran and because of getting out of the nuclear agreement with Iran and then putting our military forces in the Persian Gulf. We're escalating it, and then they're, of course, forced to respond. That's a good question the Democrats are asking.
Well, and both the U.S. and Iran both sides are saying that they do not want war, that they're not seeking war. But will there be a serious consequence if someone makes some move, even the slightest provocation? Will it be enough for one or the other to act?
Absolutely. And anytime there's just escalation, the chance of just one's mistake that's unforeseen because of that escalation could lead to both sides, a conflict that both sides don't want ultimately. And also in the middle here are the Iraqis. We, in the Iraq War, took down the majority Sunni, Saddam Hussein was Sunni, and then the majority Shia won the elections. And so they're in the middle, Iran, Shia, and so the Iraqis are very concerned that if we have a conflict with the fellow Shia Iranians, they're going to be in the middle, and that's a problem for us. Cost us $6 trillion for the Iraq War, 4,000 dead Americans, loss of American credibility around the world, and now we have the Shia caught in between if anything does happen with Iran.
Well, and that's something that the Democrats, particularly Bernie Sanders, said after the meeting yesterday, that he's worried that any simple, slight provocation will tip one side or the other, which will then, in turn, have the other side respond, which is what both the U.S. and Iran are saying, that if somebody makes a move, the other will respond and there will be consequences. But President Trump has met with several world leaders before, something we never thought we'd see happen, including 2 summits with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Trump said that he's open to talk with Iran, but they're demanding the U.S. show respect to Tehran. What are the chances that they'll actually meet?
Probably slim. For some reason, there's just not the same appetite from the Trump administration to do what he did with North Korea, getting out of the nuclear agreement before even discussing it with the Iranians, going to Tehran, discussing it, seeing what they can do to answer some questions that he might have had. Just out of it we went, and other things that we're doing in the Middle East are just not helpful to any kind of dialogue with the Iranians from the Trump administration. And unfortunately, you hear from the Republicans coming out after that briefing, that congressional briefing, Rubio and some of the others, Lindsey Graham, they've never served in combat, and they're talking about saber rattling and escalation, and these are people that have never served in combat. I'd like to hear from somebody that actually has experienced the horrors of war, talking about whether we should be escalating this. And as Winston Churchill said famously, jaw, jaw, jaw is better than war, war, war. So to your question, yes, of course we should be talking with Tehran.
Well, hopefully they will, but we've seen we've been seeing reports that the Pentagon has presented a plan to send more military troops. I believe the report said more than 120,000 to the Middle East to counter Iran. Do you see this actually happening?
Well, that's the question the Democrats are asking after that congressional briefing. Who's responsible for this escalation? Obviously, if we send 100,000 troops or aircraft carriers or any kind of military presence and escalate that in the Persian Gulf, the Iranians are forced to respond and reciprocate. And so the Democrats are asking, who's responsible for this? And that's a good question we all should be asking. And of course, Republicans are so scared of being primary, they never say anything against Trump policies.
Well, and this is something that Congress has been very divided, and the Democrats are saying one thing. They want more communication from the Trump administration, while the Republicans are in full support of what Trump is doing. You said Senator Lindsey Graham has been in full support and saying that he supports any move based on any provocation that will come from the U.S. But this is something we'll keep a very close eye on. Senator, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.